Put him first. That's the key right there. Put him first, and seek ye first the kingdom of God. And that's what we have done in our life. And that's the advice I give to anybody. I'm Dick Shaw. I had a wonderful mom and dad, Ruth and Frank Shaw. They were good people, and we lived up in North Kansas City, and my father helped start Gladstone, Missouri. He was an electrical contractor. He started Shaw Electric in 1933. And we lived at North Oak, 58th and North Oak. We lived there, we moved out in 1939. What was I like? I really had a good time in school and enjoyed going to school and playing basketball and football and being on the sports, but I really enjoyed it. I have two brothers, Frank L. Shaw Jr. and then Ted. Those are my two brothers. We had no girls in the family. I just had a real good family that I'm very thankful for. Did I go to school? I really went for one semester, and school was never easy for me. It was very difficult. I loaded my car up and waved goodbye to Columbia, Missouri. And I was in a fraternity down there and enjoyed myself too much. I drove home from the University of Columbia, and I was thinking, what in the world am I gonna do not going to school? And but my employment number was November the 10th, 1958. And I came to work for Shaw Electric, and I knew nothing about what my dad did until I went down there and started working with my father. And he was an electrical contractor, and Dad was a hard worker, and that's where I get my work ethics. And I've really enjoyed being employed with Shaw Electric, and things went well for me. I seemed to understand what to do and how to do it. I have enjoyed the electrical contracting, and it's a hard business to get acquainted with. I met Virginia Lee Shaw on a blind date at Evangel Temple, and that was when the church was at 2801 Swope Parkway. And I came by on a Friday evening, and she was there practicing for a wedding rehearsal. In order for me to see her, I realized that I needed to be in church because that's where she spent her excess time. And everything we did centered around the work of the Lord. And that's how I got acquainted. And when she broke off with me, I realized I can remember going outside, and we had a big tree at home. And I put my back against that tree and realized then if I'm gonna meet her and see her, I'm gonna need to go to church too. So I went to church, and Sunday I can remember walking into the building and didn't really know anyone, and got acquainted, and we went out that evening, and that's how I got started, was just coming to church. I did what she did, followed her. We did get married November 1962. And we got married at Evangel Temple Church at 2801 Swope Parkway. We moved to the plaza. We had a little apartment house down there. We had a little apartment there, and we paid $125 for our apartment. And Virginia hated writing out that $125 check. And we stayed there a little over a year. And then we built a house up north, and we enjoyed that house as well. And that got us started. Our oldest son is Lee Shaw, and he's our special son. He didn't breathe for 15 minutes. And Lee and I are very close to this day, and him and his mother is too as well. And then Jeff Shaw, he's our next oldest. Jeff's a fun guy, as you guys know. And he's a lot like his mother. They enjoy having fun. Then his brother Ned Shaw. And we named Ned through Ned. We were doing a building for Dasta Construction Company. That's where we got Ned's name. And then Dustin Lane Shaw, he's our youngest. We have 4 great boys, and we're very thankful to have these boys. And that's how we got started with our family. Virginia and I, we have 4 sons. We have Lee, Jeff, Ned, and Dustin. And Dustin and Ned, their families consist of Addison, Avery, and Owen. That would be Dustin's family. And Dustin is married to Kendra. And Ned and Kim, they have had Jack and little Gracie. And little Gracie has gone to be with the Lord. And we're real thankful to have our family. And we all love each other and certainly want the best and for each other. And thank you for asking. We've been attending Antioch Church for right at 35 years. Pastor Dennis Slavens has been our pastor for roughly 35 years. And we really like the church, and we certainly like our pastoral staff. And Pastor Ryan Slavens has taken the church to another level, and we've certainly enjoyed being in Antioch Church, and we're looking forward to go each week. We like the church very much. We came over to visit Don Utter, that would be a pastor's father-in-law, and Don Utter and I worked together, and he encouraged me a lot about coming to the church and enjoying the messages. And we came, and we sure did like the church. That's where we're at today, and we intend to stay there. Shaw Electric Company did wire the building, and in fact, we actually designed it. We worked with the Roe Mesmer Company, and we actually designed it, and of course we went ahead and wired it as well. And but it's like a lot of other projects. We've done that for a number of years, and again, that was roughly 35 years ago, and certainly enjoyed being at the church and being right there. And Pastor Dennis and I, we worked close together to achieve the things that he wanted to have done electrically, and we were able to do all that. I've been with Shaw Electric since 1958. I came with the company in 1958, and that's been, 60 years roughly? God has been good to Shaw Electric, and we've been very thankful for what the Lord has done in blessing us and helping us, and us trying to be in God's will and not be all things to everybody, but try to hear what we're feeling the Lord is wanting us to do. Virginia and I was just talking the last few days about listening and being in God's will and wanting to serve Him as He leads us and in His direction. And God has certainly blessed Shaw Electric and Virginia and I and our family. And thank the Lord for our family. And God's been good to us. And it's been a pleasure to be able to be a part of God's work and to do the things we feel like that He's opening the doors up for us for all these years. And we're thankful to the Lord. And thank you for asking me. Executive Hills North, that's up at the airport. And they have buildings as you're headed north from downtown Kansas City. They would have buildings on your right and on your left. We did all of the work there for about 20 years, probably close to 1 million square feet. I would guess around 10 buildings. We worked on that for a number of years, and that was in the middle 80s. That would be at Metcalf and College Boulevard. And my boys would joke with me about it being a black building and the name of it. They kind of named it the Dark Vader Building. And that's around 250 square feet, If I remember right, it's about 24-story building, and it's around 250,000 square feet. That would have been done around 10 years ago, and that was one of our largest jobs that we ever did. And we worked with the architect and the engineers on designing the building and being a part of the project. And that took place in the middle 80s. All right, One Kansas City Place, that's the tallest building in the state of Missouri, and it still holds that record of being the tallest building of the state of Missouri. That would include St. Louis, and that's a 42-story building, and we worked on that with Executive Hills, and they asked us to be a part of their team. And we did design that building completely. One Kansas City Place would be right at 1 million square feet of building. It's not only the tallest building, it's one of the larger buildings of downtown Kansas City. That was done in about 1985. Well, that took right at 2 years, and again, it was 42-story building. Well, it was called the ASB Bridge, going from Kansas City to North Kansas City, and that was called the cold storage because they made ice there. And I didn't personally work on that job. Most of the departments, I have been involved with them. On that one, I did not get involved. So I'm not as sharp on that as I should be. Bob Blake did that. Well, Bob Blake is my nephew, and he lived with us when he was in high school, and that would have been in the 70s. He was president of the company, but though he gave that up, and he's still working. He hasn't retired yet. He's getting kind of ready to, but he hasn't. Virginia is Aunt Sissy to Bob. And Bob's mother, Betty Jean, is Virginia's sister. He moves fast. He likes to stay on top of things. And of course, I have that nature too. We would meet once a week, and we would usually go down to Wade's, and we would catch breakfast, and GW would pull the napkin out and get his magic marker and draw us pictures of what he wanted to accomplish in that room. And so that was some of our setup there, that we would meet and go over what he wanted to talk about and what he wanted to make a change in. And of course, we would do that. These preachers enjoy making changes, and he certainly did that. But he was a great guy, and he would enjoy visiting with all of our team. Well, that's not a real big building, but it's a very nice building. Well, that took right at a year to do. It's an inner city church at 41st and Harrison in Kansas City, Missouri. And we did design that building as well. And we still do their service work today. Yes, we've done a number of churches in the inner city. We would want to look at the blueprints, of course, and study them and make any necessary changes and to make sure that it fits in with the city codes and all of that. Well, we were very comfortable working with the churches and understood what they wanted to accomplish, and we would help them get to that point. And again, we still have a relationship with all these pastors over the years. We've always considered working with churches as a ministry, and we've enjoyed doing that and to help them out and to be there to assist them in any way we could. Well, I think that's it. If you have anything, call me.